Shalom, shalom, everybody. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our evening Sabbath class for August 15, 2020. And we're going to do the usual. We're going to do a moment of silence. And then we're going to go into prayer and then go into our current events and the lesson. So, get right situated. So yeah, we're gonna do a moment of silence for in regards to all that the Lord of hosts is doing in the earth and in and upon the earth for our deliverance. And then we're gonna do a prayer. Oh Lord, we come before thee, bow down and honoring thee for thy great wisdom and strength. Oh Lord, through your guidance, we have found you and we search you out through your holy word given unto us by your prophets. Lord, we see your outstretched hands in the affairs of our oppressors, and we stand in awe of you. Turn out thy face from your inheritance, but deliver us. O Lord, we thank thee for knowledge that we have received, and may you guide the content of the message, and that it is received in spirit and in truth of thy great word. O Lord, we trust and abide with you. O Lord, we solely depend upon you, for the latter days are here. Keep and protect us, for we know that our Redeemer lives. The Lord of hosts is his name. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go to some current events. Anybody got anything they want to bring up about current events that they came across? Nobody got nothing? Okay. Yeah, I had a couple things I wanted to bring up. It's I don't know if nobody aware of it, but the United States Postal Service, they are through the Trump administration, they have been removing those mailbox bins that you can ride up and put your mail in to go to the Postal Service. So what they're doing is they're trying to attack they're trying to cut off. They know that the majority of the votes that are coming in going to come through the mail in because of the coronavirus. So they're trying to usurp that. And like I said this morning, it's crazy because that's a direct violation, because you can't be you shouldn't have the president that's running for election. You shouldn't have nothing to do with none of that. That's a conflict of interest. But so anyway, what's happening is it was an outcry happened when they found out this was happening. It was in response to a growing public concern about voter suppression, including President Trump's continued attack on the mail-in voting. The United States Postal Service said they will postpone its plans to remove or relocate mail collection bins. And so what happened was CNN had reported what they was doing in Oregon. They was going around with tractor trailers pulling up all the mailbox bins all over the place. And they were teaching was to do that all over the United States. And so they was literally going around doing this. And so, like I said, the people that started, the celebrities and all this started crying out, and the people started crying out about it, so they had to halt it. And so what the deal was is, and this is the crazy part about it, they had to put a removal freeze on keep them from doing this. And this the states that they had to do it in is Alaska, Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Iowa, Kansas, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oregon, South Dakota, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming, and then portions of Wisconsin and Missouri was included. So can you imagine that? I mean, this crazy. I mean, if you can't see that this is the end of America, come on. He going around the president that's running for the office. He attacked the post office, trying to pull up all the mailboxes to keep the people from mailing in their vote, the mail-in vote. Okay, so what was happening too, and like I said, we can when you start looking at this, you can already see what they constructed, what they formulated because uh, from this right here, Taylor Swift, you know, the singer Taylor Swift, she came out and slammed Trump in a series of tweets, uh, uh, and she was joined by a bunch of other celebrities and politicians in calling out President Trump for his continued attack on the mail-in voting. Swift says Trump calculated dismantling of the United States Postal Service proved one thing clearly. He is well aware that we do not want him as a president, as our president. He's chosen to blatantly cheat and put millions of Americans' lives at risk in effect in the efforts to hold his power. They say Swift goes on to say, after stoking the fires of white supremacy and racism for your entire presidency for the last 4 years, you have the nerves to finge moral superiority uh, before threatening violence. When the looting starts, see what they use, like I said, when you understand how they operate, she foretelling what's going to happen. She says, when the looting starts and the shooting starts, we will vote you out. It says when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So she already telling you it's going to be chaos all over the place. And she said, we will vote you out of office in November. That's what she tweeted to Trump. So all these celebrities, along with Taylor Swift, is blatantly telling Trump they don't want him in the office. So when you see that he go in there, all hell gonna break loose, and they setting it up right now. So it says, then the Arizona Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, she a Democrat. She stated she's one of the top election officials has accused President Trump of trying to derail November's general election by hamstringing the United States Postal Service. So, like I said before, this is crazy because it's flat out. The evidence right there in the public in everybody's face that he attacking the Postal Service in regards to the election. And come on, you running for the office and you trying to you sabotaging the the election process, and they acting as if that's nothing. That's crazy. So, like I said, with that being said, anybody got any comments? Anybody heard anything about that?
Shalom, shalom.
Okay.
And Leonard, we never know when the artists, like Taylor Swift and the politicians and all these people are working in concert. Like I know she's knocking him for what he's doing, but they all eat from the same pot,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So, but I feel like it's definitely uh, a precursor to it's going to be a doozy of an election year, you know.
Right. 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 Well, it's the end of America. That's what we're watching. We're witnessing. Like I said, the demo job of America. They want
Hmm.
America to go away,
Yeah.
and they already had the other plans already in a place. If people just look around, like I was talking about this morning, they got people of African descent, the decade, and it was from 2015 to 2024, and
Hmm.
they want the majority of people of African descent, they want them back in Africa by 2024. So they ain't hard to figure out what they're doing.
Hmm.
You know, it's just like they came up with Global 2000. Well, hell, look what happened in 2000. The World Trade Center got hit.
Right.
They already had a plan in place called Global 2000. So as soon as when 2000 came, look what happened. So we see what's happening now. You know, just it's a matter of reading the tea leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any more comments? Okay. If nobody have any more comments, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna read out of the book of Joshua. I'm gonna read chapter 6 out of the book of Joshua. Kind of says chapter 6 of the book of Joshua. It says, at that time after the death of Methuselah, the Lord said to Noah, "Go thou with thy household into the ark. Behold, I will gather thee all the animals of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and they shall all come and surround the ark." So you know, I'm looking at, you know, it's so many things that we do that we read. Like I said, we read over things, but and a lot of people is in doubt and you know in doubt about us being delivered and about what the Most High gonna do in the end time. But when you read this right here, it says, at that time after the death of Methuselah, which he had already told Methuselah what was going to happen at the end of his life. So he told him, the day when you die, the day is going to bring the flood. Methuselah already knew that. So he says, at that time after the death of Methuselah, the Lord said to Noah, "Go thou," the Lord talking, Lord of hosts, "go thou with thy household into the ark. Behold, I." So if you wonder he said he's going to do in the last days, you see right here, he says, "I will gather to thee all the animals of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and they shall come and surround the ark." So Noah had to do nothing. He the one when he got the animals. They got us thinking Noah when he got them. But he says, and thou shalt go and seat thyself by the door. So he ain't got to do nothing. You go and sit by the door of the ark, and all the beasts, the animals, and the fowls shall assemble and place themselves before thee, and such of them as shall come and crouch before thee, shalt thou take and deliver into the hands of thy sons, who shall bring them to the ark, and all that will stand before thee thou shalt lead. So he said, the paths, the ones that he want on the ark, they're gonna come and they're gonna bow down to him. And all the rest of the ones that don't, he's gonna leave them. So what that tells me is that's the same thing we were just talking about earlier this morning in the Sabbath class about uh, chosen. Everybody ain't chosen. So right here we see the ones that's gonna bow down is the ones that's going off, and the ones that they ain't chosen. They gonna get caught up in the flood. So he says, 5. And the lioness came with her two whelps, male and female, and the three crouched before Noah, and the two whelps rose up against the lioness and smote her, and made her flee from her place. And she went away, and they returned to their place and crouched upon the earth before Noah. And the lioness ran away and stood in the place of the lions. And Noah saw this and wondered greatly. And he rose and took the two whelps and brought them into the ark. And Noah brought into the ark from all living creatures that were upon the earth, so that there was none left but which Noah brought into the ark. Two and two came Noah into the ark. And from the clean animals, the clean fowls, he brought 7 couples, as God had commanded him. And all the animals and the beasts and the fowls were still there. They surrounded the ark at every place, and the rain had not descended till 7 days after. And on that day, the Lord caused the whole earth to shake, and the sun darkened, and the foundations of the world raged, and the whole earth was moved violently, and the lightning flashed, and the thunder roared, and all the fountains of the earth were broken up, such as was not known in the heavens before. And God did this mighty act in order to terrify the sons of men, that there might be no more evil upon the earth. And still the sons of men would not return from their evil ways, and they increased the anger of the Lord at that time, and did not even direct their hearts to all this. At the end of the 7 days, in the 600th year of the life of Noah, the waters of the flood were upon the earth, and all the fountains of the deep were broken up, and the waters of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And Noah and his household and all living creatures that were with him came into the ark on account of the waters of the flood, and the Lord shut him in. And all the sons of men that were left upon the earth became exalted through evil on account of the rain, for the waters were coming more violently upon the earth, and the animals and the beasts were still surrounding the ark. And the sons of men assembled themselves together, about 700,000 men and women, and they came to Noah to the ark, and they called to Noah, saying, "Open for us, that we may come to thee in the ark, and wherefore shall we die?" And Noah with a loud voice answered them from the ark, saying, "Have you not all rebelled against the Lord, and said that he do not exist? And therefore the Lord brought upon you this evil, to destroy and cut off from the face of the earth." So look at this and look at the coronavirus. Okay, it says so it say, "Is not this the thing that I spoke to you 120 years back, and you would not hearken to the voice of the Lord, and now you desire to live upon the earth?" And they said to Noah, "We are ready to return to the Lord. Only open for us, that we may live and not die." And Noah answered them, saying, "Behold, now that you see the trouble of your soul, you wish to return to the Lord. Why did you not return during these 120 years, which the Lord granted you as a determined period? But now you come and tell me this on account of the troubles of your soul. Now also the Lord will not listen to you, neither will he give ear to you on this day, so that you will not succeed in your wishes." So, like I was saying before, what I just read is the reason why I said, uh, you know, dealing with the things that I'm dealing with, because it's gonna come a time, just like right here. It's gonna come a time when the Lord gonna show up, and then ain't no, you can't, what you were previously doing, you ain't gonna be able to do no more. And if you ain't prepared for it, you're gonna end up just like these folks ended up. So it says, "And the sons of men approached in order to break in the ark, and to come in on account of the rain, for they could not bear the rain upon them. And the Lord sent all the beasts and animals that stood around the ark, and the beast overpowered them and drove them from the place, and every man went his way, and they again scattered themselves upon the face of the earth. And the rain was still descending upon the earth, and it descended 40 days and 40 nights, and the waters prevailed greatly upon the earth, and all flesh that was upon the earth or in the waters died, whether men, animal, beast, creeping thing, or birds of the air, and there only remained Noah and those that were with him on the ark. And the waters prevailed, and they greatly increased upon the earth, and they lifted up the ark, and it was raised from the earth. And the ark floated upon the face of the waters, and it was tossed upon the waters, so that all living creatures within were turned about like pottage in a cauldron. And the great anxiety seized all the living creatures that were in the ark, and the ark was like to be broken. And all the living creatures that were in the ark were terrified. And the lions roared, and the oxen lowed, and the wolves howled, and every living creature in the ark spoke and laminated in his own language, so that their voices reached to a great distance. And Noah and his sons cried and wept in their troubles. They were greatly afraid that they had reached the gates of death. And Noah prayed unto the Lord and cried unto him on account of this. And he said, "O Lord, help us, for we have no strength to bear this evil that has encompassed us. For the waves of the water have surrounded us. Mischievous tyrants have terrified us. The snares of death have come before us. Answer us, O Lord. Answer us. Light up thy countenance toward us, and be gracious to us. Redeem us and deliver us. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Noah, and the Lord remembered him. And the wind passed over the ark, over the earth, and the waters were still, and the ark rested. And the fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained, and the waters decreased in those days, and the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat. And Noah then opened the windows of the ark, and Noah still called out to the Lord at that time, and he said, O Lord, who did it form the earth and the heavens and all that are therein? Bring forth our soul from this confinement and from the prison wherein thou hast placed us. For I am much weary with sighing. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Noah and said to him, when thou shalt have completed a full year, thou shalt then go forth. And the revolution of the year, when a full year was completed, to Noah's dwelling in the ark, the waters were dried from the off the earth, and Noah put off the covering of the ark. At that time, on the 27th day of the second month, the earth was dry. Noah and his sons and those that were with him did not go out from the ark until the Lord told them, and they came, and the day they came, and the day came that the Lord told them to go out, and they all went out from the ark, and they went and returned every one to his way and to his place, and Noah and his sons dwelt in the land that God had told them, and they served the Lord all their days. And the Lord blessed Noah and his sons on their going out from the ark. And he said to them, be fruitful and fill all the earth, become strong and increase abundantly in the earth and multiply therein. Okay, so that was Joshua chapter 6. Anybody have any comments or questions on what I just read? No comments or questions?
Shalom, shalom.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just got my book of Jasher, and after you read in it this morning, I read a little bit ahead of where you were, which I read chapter 6. And it was so amazing to me that Noah did not go and look for these animals that went on the ark.
Right.
They came, and the thing about it, if my understanding is correctly, a lot of animals came, but he only took the ones that bowed to him. So there were
Right.
animals that showed up that didn't bow.
Right.
Um, and so what I wanted to ask you was, what are the implications of that? Is it that the animals that bow were under the authority of the Lord of hosts, or what?
Well, he deals with signs, and so he had already told him earlier that I'm gonna send out some animals to you. The ones that bow to you, those are the ones that I've chosen to go on off. So
Right.
all Noah had to do was stand there and wait, and he didn't have to sit there and pick the ones that the Most High wanted on the ark. They bowed down to him,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so the thing is, when the last time you seen an animal bow down to somebody?
Exactly.
So that's So like I said, when you look at all that, it should give you a relief to understand that what he has said, he gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Because we reading in the scriptures that he said he's gonna come and deliver us, and he's gonna do that. He told our forefathers, but everything he told them, he done it. When it came to pass, just
Right.
when he said he's gonna do it. So that should be a relief of mind that you know. Just like I said, reparations. They keep on fumbling with it, but believe me, when it happens, it's gonna happen big.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. The whole game changed after that because you gotta leave here, this land where we at. We're not gonna be here no more. We got here. So the game changed.
Mm-hmm. So
And,
in
and
the
like
King James, oh, go ahead.
what you say?
In the King James Bible, you don't get that understanding that the animals came and bowed down.
Right, right. That's why it's of the utmost importance to get these books, read these other books, because they done, like I was saying before, uh, you know, uh, being in this environment and being on this line and getting the proper foundation is of the utmost importance. And then from
Mm-hmm.
there, you're able to start going and reading the book for what it's actually saying. But if
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the proper foundation, you're just gonna be like our forefathers was reading and not getting no interpretation, relying on somebody else that don't know what they're talking about to give you interpretation, and the interpretation is flawed. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Leonard, so one of the thing the thing that came to my mind also when I understood that these animals came to Noah and bowed was when Gideon was choosing when Gideon had to cut his army down. He the Lord of hosts told him the ones that put their face in the water and lap, don't choose them, but the ones that cup it in their hands. So the Lord of hosts has particular ways
right.
that he does things. And like you say, we so far away from how we functioned as original Hebrew Israelites. We just don't know, you know.
Well, right. That's the whole purpose. Like I said, once you understand what the New Testament is to keep you from operating like that. Like he tells us point blank in the uh, in the beginning that he says the sun and the moon for sign.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do with a sign? You look at it and you observe it. So the culture that we living in now, we don't look up and try to examine the moon and examine the sun. We going from day to day with bull crap. We're not looking at the signs that he set in place. It's like I said with dreams. He tell you in the scriptures he dealt with the prophets through dreams and visions. Yeah, you dreaming, but are you paying attention to your dream? No, nobody doing that. So and that's because of we've lost our way, because the Hebrew Israelite, he's dealing with the sun and the moon, and he's observing that, and then he's dealing with his dreams. So
Exactly.
that's what we have to get back to. All that stuff was put there in place for a reason. They gifts actually.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a part of the nation of Israel being holy. We don't, we don't do the Lord hosts don't do things with us like all the other nations do. You know,
right,
like
yeah, that's separate. We're separate people. They don't. It's like, and I mean, when you understand all that, it also, it clarifies a lot of stuff. Like he ain't bring no Gentiles in.
mm-hmm.
Just from looking at this, that's a misnomer. Ain't no way he brought the Gentiles in, because what he's given to us as a people, it's nobody. It can't be replaced, and it
Yeah.
can't be given to nobody else. So we know that there's a lie. Yeah, so they don't add up. Yeah.
Yeah, Leonard, I also thought about, and then I'm done. You had mentioned, I believe it was last night, you were saying that not everyone is going to make it in, or um and so when I was reading how Noah kept on trying to tell the people to turn back to the Lord. I mean, 120 years the Lord of hosts gave them to come back to him, and they didn't. But as soon as they realized danger was imminent, they try to knock on the door of the ark and try to get in, but it was too late. So I thought about that um, when you had said, I believe in the teaching yesterday or the teaching before, not everyone is chosen, or not everyone is going to make it in, and not every some people are going to be hard-headed and not adhere. Um, So I thought about that.
Right. Right. See, like I said, it's I mean, whether the person hear that or whether they feel bad, it's coming because everything else he done did is, it's gonna come upon you so fast. You know what I mean? You ill prepared. You know, it's on them. That's simple. Now, any more comments? Okay. What I was gonna do right here is it's not gonna really be that long of a class, but I was looking at this video and it's about Camilla Harris, you know, and it's talk about how that when she was attorney general or whatever when she was in California, she's the one behind the truancy laws. I don't know if anybody knows what that means. I'm gonna give you a definition in a minute, but she was doing a lot of foul stuff in regards to black folks. And so with this guy from Tone Talks, I don't know if anybody's familiar with him, but he's the guy that's over ADOS, which is he's pushing reparations for American descendants of slaves. They call it ADOS for short. So he was talking about how she the one she coined this thing called truancy, and I'll give you the definition of what it is. Truancy is a law for parents and for children that's going to school. If they skip a certain amount of school days or over 30 days, they can go to jail, and they can send the parent to jail. So it's truancy is an intentional, unjustified, unauthorized, or illegal absence from a compulsory education. It is a deliberate absence by a student on free will, and usually does not refer to legitimate excuse for absence, such as one related to a medical condition. Truancy is explicitly defined in the school's handbooks, policies, and procedures. Some children whose parents claim homeschool have also been found truant in the U.S. Other terms for truancy include playing hooky, scaving off, wagging and bunking, attending school but not going to class. It's called skipping class, cutting class, flopping, or or formally is more formally internal truancy. So it says recent estimates in the United States suggest that 11% of adolescents skip school in a run of a month. So like I was saying, she's saying that what they're saying is they that she you know she is almost like Obama, and this is a plan that the powers that be been had in place. They bring out somebody that look like us, but they ain't us. So what he's saying is he know that she's an Indian. The features, the black features she have, she got them from her daddy, and then he ain't all the way. He was raised over in the islands, but he got more Indian in him than he do African American. But she got some of the features enough for them to bring her out, just like with Obama, And so it worked with him. So now we see him with the same playbook again, bringing her out on the scene. But this video is exposing the fact that her policies is the same as any other white person. She have no regard for black folks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let some of it play, and then talk about it, and I'm gonna let a little more play. Then we're gonna close out. Okay.
With a great guest here today. It's an interesting day. We got the announcement of none other than Kamala Harris as the vice presidential nominee for Joe Biden. I have a guest that is very pertinent to Kamala Harris's whole story and backstory. I have the wonderful Cherie Peoples. I'm going to set up who she is, but before I do, you want to say hello to the audience?
Hello, guys. How are you?
I want to say shout out to ADOS, American Descendant of Slavery audience that are out there, all other people that are out there. We're going to have a powerful discussion where we lay out the facts of everything that has gone on in context of Cherie Peoples and also Kamala Harris's truancy laws and their impact on real people's lives. Essentially, what we're on right now is YouTube. I expect to have about maybe 3,000 to 4,000 people live, and hopefully 50 to 100,000 people watch this video. I'm here to give Ms. Peoples a chance to speak her truth into the whole statement of Kamala Harris as the first Black woman that's been nominated to the vice presidential candidacy and what happened to her life as a result of the truancy policies that Kamala Harris championed under Republican Governor Schwarzenegger. As I do that, I need you guys to understand that Huffington Post actually covered Ms. Peoples' story some years ago. That story was titled "The Human Cost of Kamala Harris's War on Truancy." I want to read a small section, then come right to Ms. Peoples and give her a chance to speak about some of the nuances of this story. On the morning of April 18, 2013, in the Los Angeles suburb of Buena Park, a throng of photographers positioned themselves on a street curb and watched as two police officers entered a squat townhouse. Minutes later, their cameras began clicking. The officer had reemerged with a weary-looking woman in pajamas and handcuffs, and the photographers were jostling to capture her every step. "I swear I had killed somebody," the woman Cherie Peoples said in a recent interview. In fact, Peoples had been arrested for her daughter's spotty school attendance record under a truancy law that then California Attorney General Kamala Harris, and now the vice presidential nominee, had personally championed in the state legislature. The law enacted in January 2011 made it a criminal misdemeanor for parents to allow kids in kindergarten through 8th grade to miss more than 10% of school days without a valid excuse. People's 11-year-old daughter, Shayla, had missed 20 days so far that school year. So before I read on, you want to talk to us a little bit about your story, and then I'll come back to the article.
Yes, a little bit about my story and about the background. My daughter, Shayla, has
Okay.
Hi, it's Stacey Abrams. There is a huge fundraising deadline coming up for Senate Democrats. And
Sorry about
a
that.
condition called sickle cell anemia, which she was born with. It's something that she contracted between me and her father. It's hereditary. And because of her condition, she's always been deemed disabled by the federal government. Since kindergarten, Shayla always had what they consider a 504 plan, which is something that's called a reasonable accommodations. So they're supposed to ensure that they're able to accommodate Shayla no matter what. So leading up to everything with this truancy thing, I always ensured that she had the proper documents, the proper paperwork, everything in line to ensure that she had, for number one, the proper education, and for number two, the proper health care. Her health care always oversees the education side because, of course, my job as a parent is to keep her alive. I want to see her grow, and I want to see her become the young woman that she needs to be. So being under a doctor's care, they always will tell you what to do that is required to take care of a child that is chronically ill, such as Shayla.
Now, let me say this. As I look over here, if you see my eyes wander, what I'm doing is actually monitoring the chat, reading powerful comments. Like someone right there says, "I remember when I first heard about this, I was pissed off, and I don't even have kids." Part of what I wanted to do was bring the ADOS family, which is hundreds of thousands strong across America, and put our arms around you, Ms. Peoples, because today is not a celebration or a recognition of you. I feel like the way this is being paraded around is as though Kamala Harris called you personally, and that call did not happen, correct?
No, that call never happened. No apologies never happened. You know, the whole thing that really disturbed me is that she lied. The whole entire time that she started the circuit, when she first announced her presidency last year or so, she lied when she was asked about the truancy. Like, people have to understand 10% of time is not a lot. It's only 3 days.
No, it isn't.
It's
That's
only
not
3 days of the school year. So, and it doesn't matter. My daughter was protected under her 504. She was supposed to be protected under these governing laws, and they still came and took me to jail. Had it as if photographers was there. I mean, look as if I killed somebody. And that's how it made me feel like I was Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, what did I do? Because I had everything in place in which they tell me how to do. And how can they go around and smack me in the back literally 2 weeks after I had meetings with the school? Because technically on record, they had her missing like 40 something days. I had to take them to court regarding those days to have them fix her record. 12 days after I had that meeting is when they submitted my name to the DA. So they knew exactly what they were doing. I wasn't aware of the truancy situation. I knew about the letters. I was calling the principal. I was always active. I was an active parent from day one, showing documents, showing everything that is required when you have a sick child. I knew my daughter was sick. It wasn't no question. She was born with the condition. So when you're being monitored by the state, you're being monitored by the federal government, because I have opiates, I have narcotics in my home. So under these conditions, this is what I know. And I knew I needed to protect my daughter by having these so-called documents that never literally protected me or her.
You know, for me, you know, I read your story, and it is a powerful one. Almost, I'll be honest, it brought me to an emotional place, because, I mean, I just don't feel like you should have been done like that, especially given the situation. But regardless, I think that one of the things that we have to be careful about is tokenism for the sake of tokenism. Today, Kamala Harris is being paraded around by everyone from AKAs to Black female Howard grads to Black males in professional spaces in a way that she didn't deserve. That person that deserves that calls you up and says to you, I apologize. That person that does that puts their arms around you instead of having officers come and pull you out of the bed. You know, I'm a Black professional. I practice in California. It's not altogether a great thing for me to be speaking out against Kamala the way I am. But today is that day where you deserve that chance to say your voice. And if I have to risk that potential blowback, that'll be the case, because this is awful. I look at this reality in context of Kamala Harris being Brahmin Indian and Jamaican, raised by the Brahmin Indian mother. And I ask whether we as ADOS, American descendants of slavery, can really understand what that means and how we're viewed by somebody who comes from that kind of caste system, coming from slavery in America for hundreds of years. I want to read a little more about this article and then come right back to you and get into the details. The law, talking about the truancy law, was the capstone of Harris' year-long campaign to get tough on truancy. The term for when a child consistently misses school without a valid excuse. Harris' involvement began in the mid-2000s when the future senator and 2020 presidential candidate was the San Francisco district attorney. Harris had been disturbed to learn that a disproportionate number of the city's homicides were high school dropouts, and that dropouts are more likely to become perpetrators of victims of crimes. Preventing truancy, she argued, was not just about the noble goal of ensuring every child's education, but a matter of averting future criminals. So it only made sense for the city's top law enforcement officer to get involved. Harris filed charges against a handful of San Francisco parents whose elementary school-aged children were consistently missing school. And I want to explain to everybody that she did this, I believe, as a pilot program in San Francisco, and then she pushed it.
Okay. I'm asking you to make a donation.
Okay.
To show that, and a very similar sense to me to Bill Clinton and what Bill Clinton did on Stone Mountain with Black folks, with Black men and incarceration. She pushed it to show that she would be tough on Black women, and for Black women, brown women in particular, parents, but particularly Black women and brown women, and that she didn't have that soft heart. And so what you ended up seeing is that when we talk about the truancy laws, for all those people who are today celebrating her under the guise of Black womanness, she didn't just continue, she championed a law to put Black mothers in behind bars.
Okay, so any comments? I'm gonna pick it up in a minute, play a few more minutes of it, then we're gonna close out. Any comments on what you're hearing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I noticed earlier today that somebody put up Kamala Harris's birth certificate.
Right.
Okay. And the mom claims to be Caucasian. Now I don't know if that's a pass from a white man because they passed the pencil test. You know that deal with the pencil slide
Right.
through the hair.
Okay.
But I also noticed that her mother seems to represent more African features than her dad. So indeed, it appears to me her dad has been whited out, and why he didn't have his nationality, because somebody pointed out that they was going through a time, I guess, during that era where they didn't. Certain people didn't want other folks to know that they were black, so he said he's Jamaican. I don't know what nationality that is, but
Right.
anyway, yeah. So yeah, she's and I noticed something else too. Now historically, well, for me, I did a little bit of research on Obama. That man, that man looks like the same or from the same. I don't know. Nationality of who they claim Obama's real dad is. So when I
Right.
saw him, I said, "Geez, I would." Uh, I mean, I was kind of taken aback. I'm gonna do some research because it looked like to me her and Obama could be brother and sister.
Yeah, right. Like that's my point is the fact that system is a system they have in place the whole time. They've been grooming these people for the time when they bring them on the scene. They've been grooming them. They ain't just show up out of nowhere. They was grooming them. It's like they
Yeah,
grooming Obama.
that's the same
And
thing. Yep, that's
yeah,
the same thing I was thinking. They must. I don't know if they got a place where they growing these people or what.
right, exactly, right. Then they come on the scene all of a sudden out of nowhere. I mean, it's the same story because she ain't even did a whole term as a senator. Now all of a sudden she been chose as the vice president and Obama did the same thing with him. All of a sudden he gets the platform of the Democratic convention to do a speech, and the next election he didn't won. He didn't beat Hillary Clinton. And she a senior senator. Her husband used to be the president, but he got way more sway than her. All of a sudden, out of the blue, and you can see you can see the playbook. They're doing the same thing with her. And the thing about it is, every one of them they bring on the scene, it has a total disconnect from African Americans. They don't know nothing about African Americans. They don't know nothing about our struggle or nothing. But they bring them on the scene, and we go for it like we do the same thing we do. What we was doing with Florida Host with idol worship. We sit there and witness all the stuff he capable of doing, and as soon as somebody come along with a bull crap idol, we jump all over top of it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. And so this alone, like I said about the money, all the stuff they have on the money, it ain't on there for GP. It's on there because it's gonna happen. So this is one of the signs right here. They bring it out. They're part of the plan. Something is up. Because like I said, if Biden wanted to win, he should have got Rice. She's more people more favored toward her than they are Kamala Harris. They already showed you what they feel about her when she ran for president, for the candidate to be the president. Nope, they shunned her. So why would you turn around and bring on your ticket unless it's some kind of hidden agenda? Yeah. Any more comments?
And Mr. Leonard, what was the name of that video?
Okay, let me get it right here. It's Kamala Harris vice presidential nominee truancy laws? Explain.
Truancy laws. Okay, thank you. We do have one more comment in the chat if you're taking it.
Yeah, what is it?
Okay, Leonard, you know, if you don't dig into the past of these people, you know, like we're doing, if you just see Kamala Harris is fighting against truancy, then it makes her look like she's doing something great. But the other part of that truancy is that students who miss too many days, they can be fined,
Right,
they can be blocked from graduating, in addition to arresting their parents. So
right,
it's
right,
it's 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 like they may not be blocking us from reading like they was doing in slavery, but like you said this morning, they keep us in this wicked education system and indoctrinate us. So that's one of the reasons why they're fighting against truancy, because they want to make sure you in school to be indoctrinated with that wicked system and to
right,
dumb you down.
right. And so the alternative to that is, which is most reason, which is the most uh civilized thing to do, is when you understand, if you are a parent that's awakened and you tuned into the system that's in place, you homeschool your kid.
Exactly.
So
Well,
everybody doing that. So this is what truancy is, a counter to homeschooling.
well, don't we may not need to say that too fast, because homeschool among black families can be they have been found to be labeled truant, because what they have now is they have agents from the educational system that just pops up without notice to black families who say that they're homeschooling their children, and so they're beginning to impose truant laws against black families, or I'm just going to say families in general, but of course you know that it's disproportionately black families are receiving um, truant fines, because when the agent shows up from the education system, there's no schooling going on in the home at that time that they show up. So yeah, it even reaches to affect parents who take their students out of school to homeschool them.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. They don't want us to go in that direction. So by coming with these agents and all that, is to redirect you back to system that they've been had in place for centuries. They don't
Mm-hmm.
want to, because we waking up. It's no, we don't want to deal with that no more.
Right.
To the point where that's what's bringing about all this these riots and all this in the streets, because the people are some majority of the people are, if they're not awakened to a lot of the things that we are awakened to, they're awakened to a lot of other things, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't choose to deal with it no more. I mean, because that's a suicide. To raise your kids up now in the school system is a suicide, because it just the homosexual agenda.
Exactly.
Your kid don't need to be raised up in that. That's
Mm-hmm.
and like I said before, when you go back and look at it, uh, we we came from over in the Middle East, from a tropical area. These people came from a cold climate. We
Mm-hmm.
not we eat the same blood.
Right.
And these different origins, and they got it's different things. They have stuff that they've been dealing with, and they've been witnessing. Their kids been witnessing for centuries. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the very opposite of what we doing. We don't deal with stuff like that. They ain't running around with no boy dressing up like a girl and everybody approving it.
Exactly.
It don't work like that. Yeah, but that's what they do. That's what they do, and so we've been because of what our forefathers being disobedient, we've been cast over here as part of our punishment.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's almost over.
Mm-hmm.
Almost up. Yeah. Yeah.
And that truancy thing, Leonard, it also you know, there's so many different tentacles to it. Like I say, truancy to the homeschool, but then they have internal truancy. And what that is about is when students, you know, they might hide behind the stairs or hide under the stadium, skipping class in school. So they call it internal truancy. So once again, they have attached a fine to it. So they're always trying to hit the pockets you know, of the African Americans. They're always trying to hit the pockets of either they finding them or they are, you know, giving them a check to put their child on Ritalin, but it's never good.
Right. Exactly. It's like I said, they are, you know, when we're not paying attention to it, but they reaping all the benefits of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they reaping all the benefits of it. Like for example, I was talking to somebody yesterday, I think it was over at the shop, how um, you know, they want to say that, you know, we haven't did this and we haven't did that. Well, when you understand, go back to our beginnings and all the things that we have accomplished. These people, we know where they came from. We know that the Moors came over into Europe. They were sleeping there, the hogs and the chickens and the pigs sleeping in the house with them.
Mm-hmm.
And these people had to show them how to, you build a corral. You put the hog and you separate them. You separate these animals, and then you don't, and then show them how to sanitize stuff and all that. So they ain't giving us nothing, but
Exactly.
they didn't gather and pull it off us. So I mean, we have no other choice but to be where we at, because you ain't bringing nothing to the table for us to progress, but you getting
Exactly.
everything from us. You
Mm-hmm.
pulling everything from us, but you ain't got nothing to give us. Like I say, we see how you is, because you know sleeping with the same sex and all that, and
And
you
the
just
animals, sleeping
right,
with
man.
the animals.
You ain't got
Yeah.
nothing to give us, because we're not doing that.
Right.
So we ain't. It's no other reason. It's no other place that we could be in but where we at right now, looking at the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
ain't brought nothing to the table. You ain't got nothing. It's like a millionaire come in contact with a homeless man. Yeah, the homeless man steady borrowing and getting money from him, but he ain't got nothing to give give you the millionaire.
Right.
When you look up, both of them gonna be homeless. Yeah,
Right.
so that's how that is. They ain't giving us nothing. We already proven that we are capable people from our past.
Exactly.
Even now, when we down, everything they doing in this culture predicated off of how we act.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Mm-hmm.
we instead of being pulled on, you ain't got no other choice but to be downtrodden. Yeah.
Right. You know,
So
even to the degree, Leonard, where you might see a T-shirt by Nike that say what up, my bruh. You know, ain't no white person saying that, so they have what they they have what they call, I'm calling them spies, but it's another name. But they have black people in the community that is tipping off these European owned companies as to what is the, you know, what is being talked about in the communities, to a degree that it would warrant a T-shirt.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Any other comment? Okay, what I'm gonna do is a little more of this play, and then we're gonna close it out.
For their kids not going to school, without understanding their kids going to school, why, and we have a perfect example here, covered by the Huffington Post, a liberal site that I've written on. So don't come in here with no conservative talk. I've written on the Huffington Post for years. You can go check my work. The Huffington Post covered her story originally. We are here as ADOS Democratic voters demanding a black agenda, demanding reparations, so Ms. Peoples doesn't have to suffer the way she had to suffer. And so I come back to this whole thing, and what I want to get into is, a few years later, she persuaded the state legislator to adopt harsher penalties for truancy. Under the new law, the parent of a young truant child could face a fine of $2,500 or more, or 1 year in jail. To me, it sounds like rich people can buy themselves out of this. So if you're a rich person, come on. Break it down for us. Break it down to Orange County and all that.
Let me explain something. They can, because in Orange County, if anybody paid attention to the news when they were talking about the truancy thing, they will pay for their kids to miss school days in order for them not to. They will opt out by paying a certain fee or whatever for the amount of days that they're missing. This was only done in the lower poverty area of Orange County. It wasn't necessarily done in the South County and the upper areas where the let's say like Mission Viejo. It was really Santa Ana, Anaheim. This is the lower area, poverty area of Orange County. It was a targeted thing, yes, and it hurts parents because guess what? Black parents and particularly single mothers, because it's a lot of us that are caring for our children, and guess where they go? They end up going to the system. So we go to jail and they go to the system. And guess what happens when you go to jail? And if you're receiving any kind of public benefits, it is affected because you cannot have a criminal record. So it affects the family as a whole, not just that parent that went to jail, because now they have a criminal record. So now it's not the fact on, oh, you just going to court, it's a criminal offense. It's not just a ticket where you go and speed. No, it's not a speeding ticket. It's a difference. It's a whole different language. It's a whole different lingo.
And created by Kamala. Created by Kamala.
And it's a system to take us mothers away from our children. Let me explain it, because my daughter, and it's unfortunate that she was supposed to be protected under her 504 rights. So if you understand what the 504 is and what it's about, literally, if she had that, just imagine a parent that don't. Just imagine your child having asthma and they miss days because you need medication. They can press charges against you and say that you're an unfit parent, and you still supposed to send your child to school and let them tell you to take them to the doctor. So it's not about what the doctors say. They didn't care. They cared about her behind being in school. And when Kamala enacted this, they got a surplus by sending so many parents.
What's a surplus?
The surplus is money. They got money for this. This was something that she encouraged. She encouraged them to do this, because why is it within 2 weeks they submitted my name after I had a 504 plan meeting and an IEP in process? All of it was in process. So let me tell you, my legal rights was violated. My daughter's rights was violated. And due to the fact that attorneys didn't know nothing about truancy, they kept sending me through this circle. And literally, it was like my name was black hole. I could not find an attorney. Would nobody accept my case? And
did the NAACP help you?
No. I couldn't think of NAACP. All I can get was angels to guide me.
You went to the NAACP?
I did, and I couldn't get no response. They just basically told me they were going to get back to me.
And never got back.
And never got back to me. And next thing I know, they actually endorsed Kamala. And that's the whole reason on why. Because at the time that I contacted them, when she was doing this whole black circuit, this was what I call it. Some people want to call it, the chicken noodle soup circuit or whatever. But our whole circuit, BET, the Breakfast Club, all of them type of circuit, she was going around saying she didn't. But people don't understand she is responsible for this bill, regardless on the jurisdiction. California is her jurisdiction. If you're the Attorney General of California, everybody in your jurisdiction is California. There's no in between. So how is she's not responsible? And she was the one who pressed it to be a criminal offense, not the
right. So like I was saying, you see what she's saying is that whole system. Like I said, it's not a coincidence that Robert Johnson came out talking about got a plan all of a sudden for reparations, for $14 trillion plan, $14 trillion plan for reparations. And Ice Cube coming out with he got this plan he got, and the other guy we was just talking about the other day, T.I. So like she was saying before, it's all part of, they got a plan, a blueprint, and they all, like I said, these people, these celebrities already know where we headed. They know where we headed. We headed to Africa. They know that. And they all working together with them to make it come about. They already know. They already aware of that. Like I said, Robert Johnson and Oprah Winfrey left here, 10, 15 years ago. He sold BT and all that, and he left and went to Africa. And now all of a sudden, Africa done popped up on the world scene now, emerging, and all this talk and what they call it, these vibes about Africa all over the place all of a sudden. But they was preparing all of it while we was sitting around watching the drama with Obama for 8 years. They was over there setting all this up. So like she said, the NAACP wasn't for the help her because they're in the same program with Camilla Harris. And so they ain't gonna do nothing. And this been going on forever. And like I said, that's why you have to understand why the Most High said that, he got to come back and do this. There's no way we'll never get out of this. If it wasn't no such thing as a Lord of hosts and a place called heaven, we'd never get out of this. Because they got it all, they got it down pat. Yeah. So before I close out, anybody have any more comments? Anything before we leave? No. It says that the Most High has 2 verses I want to give you. The question is there anything that Hebrew Israelites can do to speed up the process of our deliverance? I'm gonna read this right quick. Like I was saying before this morning, I will when you understand, they've given us a fake redeemer and deliverer, which is Jesus Christ. He ain't not our redeemer. It's an angel that's our redeemer, and it's Michael El, the Lord of hosts, is our redeemer. And so that's all through the Old Testament. So when you go to Daniel chapter, let me get it right quick. When you go to Daniel chapter 10 and verse, I'm gonna restart at verse 20. It says, "Then said he, Know thou wherefore I come unto thee." This is Gabriel talking to Daniel. And now I will return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I have gone forth, lo, the prince of Greece shall come. So how do we know this? Because of verse 21. "But I will show thee that which is written, that's noted in the scriptures of truth. And there is none that holdeth with me in these things but Michael, your prince." So they're looking at this book, a book of life that's in heaven. And only Michael and Gabriel, these 2 angels, archangels, the ones that are looking at it. And they're able to come to the earth, tell the prophets, and then the prophets prophesy to the people. That's how you get prophecies. They looking at the book already what's going to happen. And they come down and tell it to us. So what that is a time appointed. So by us being Hebrew Israelites, there's nothing we can do except wait till the time appointed. So the other verse I was talking about is let me get it. I'm in Daniel chapter 8. Daniel had a dream of a ram and a he-goat, and that was in verse chapter 8. And 1 through 14 was the dream. And then I'm picking it up in 15, Daniel 8 and 15, the interpretation. And he says, "It came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision, sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me at the appearance of a man." This Gabriel says, "And I heard the man's voice between the banks of the Uliah, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision." So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid. I fell upon my face, but he said unto me, "Understand, Son of man, for the time of the end shall be the vision." Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in deep sleep on my face, with my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. And he said, "Behold, I will make thee know what shall be the last end of indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be. So us as Hebrew Israelites, we have to tarry and wait till the time appointed. We have to understand the scriptures and understand the prophecies and wait for the time appointed for it to take place. There's nothing we can do to speed it up because the Most High is working on. He brings forth prophecies and then he brings them to pass at the time appointed. Well, I hope that answers your question. Okay. First of all, the question is, what is the order for children? Do the father and the mother pray for the children, or the father only? Well, the man is, each man has his own house. The Lord of hosts is God of houses. So the male is, each male has his own house. So he's over that house. He pray. He's the one. He constructs and directs and orders everything within the house. And the mother helps him do that. She's a helpmeet. So you said the 6-day man enemy to the 8-day man. No, it's just the 6-day man. Let me give you a verse to show you. So in the beginning, he created a man and a woman on the 6th day. All right, they came from him. Then he rested on the 7th day, and he came back on the 8th day, the 8th day from creation, and he created this Adam, which is the 8th-day man. The 6th-day man is subject to him. But what turned this 8th-day man away from the Most High was when these angels came down and started sleeping with the women. That's how you get the Egyptians. That's what turned. They started doing something else. They turned this man from the change the course of what they was. He created them to do, and they started following these giants and following these fallen angels that was out of place. They had left their habitation and came down here. So I'm gonna give you an example of that. The two was created to supplement each other. All right. So I'm gonna go to let me find it right quick. Okay, I'm in Exodus chapter 12 and verse 37. This is when the Israelites left out of Egypt. And so originally, before Genesis 6 happened, when you go to the book of Enoch and Joshua, we see start talking about Melchizedek. Well, Melchizedek is all those 10 men that you see before the flood. Adam, Enoch, Jared, Enoch, all them that's who Melchizedek is. He's in charge of the whole planet. And he was teaching not only this 6-day man, but he was teaching his people and the giants. They was all coming to him to get understanding from the Most High. That's who Melchizedek is. That's so after the flood, when Abraham went and came in contact with Melchizedek, that was Shem. Shem was still alive. So anyway, so I'm in Exodus chapter 12, verse 37. This is when the Israelites is leaving Egypt, right? It says, the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Sackcloth, and 600,000 on foot were men, besides children. And then 38, and a mixed multitude went up also with them. That's these 6-day people that didn't want to deal with those Egyptians. So when the Israelites left, they knew who they were. They left with them. They didn't the Egyptian was oppressive. And we know that because they oppressed us for 430 years. And the Lord of hosts had to come deliver us. Okay? I hope it'll answer the question. Okay? Any more questions?
I have one more question in the chat. You
Okay.
taking that one? Okay.
Yeah, I take it. Okay. Okay, you say, well, why was the serpent created? Well, how you understand that is, you go back and then you understand that it's a reason why all these angels have names, and so you see in the scriptures every time somebody come in contact with them, the first thing they do is they ask them what their name is, because the name tell you what their role is, what they can't, what they do, what their role is, and so Michael L is he who creates. So he the one when the Most High in the beginning when he says, and he made light. The Most High telling him make light. He make the light, make this. He the one doing all the creating, and so that's why it was paramount for them when they created Jesus at the Council of Hill. Now he's the Word, and everything was created by him. But that's a lie because Michael's name tell you who he is. He's doing the creating. So when you understand that it's a temple in heaven, just like it's a temple on the earth. So it was if it's a temple in heaven, then it's a priesthood in heaven. You got the Levites on the earth, that's a priesthood in the temple on earth, where it was a serpentine race of beings that was in the temple in heaven. Satan is a serpent. He was over them. Satan was the high priest. He's the anointed cherub. He's the one, he was over worship. Michael is just like on the earth. David is over Israel, and you got the high priest over the temple. Well, Michael is the one that's over heaven. He's the Lord of hosts, and Satan was over the temple. And he puffed himself, he got puffed up. And so when he kicked him out, the Bible tells you a third of the angels went with him. What third? These serpents. It was cast out to the earth. This before you come to Genesis 1:1. It was cast out to the earth. And it was I have to go back and get the book, but it's in I think it's if I'm not mistaken, it's in Jubilees, I think. But they was cast out into outer darkness. And so when you go back to Genesis, you understand that the Most High is returning to the earth. The whole earth is. Let me read it right quick. So it says, go to the flood. See, the flood with Noah was the second flood. The earth was flooded in Genesis 1:1 for what the serpent had done, what Satan had done. So it says right here. So when we come to Genesis 1:1, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of the Lord moved upon the waters." So the whole earth covered with water. They returned to it. He returned to from where he had caused the flood from what Satan was doing. And then the second flood was when Noah, what they was doing during the time of Noah, he flooded the earth, and so that's why he brought the rainbow. He says, "I'm going to put this rainbow here because I'm never going to flood the earth again." The next time he will judge the earth is going to be with fire. That's Malachi chapter 4, verse 1. So these serpentine beings came from heaven. They was cast out with Satan. When he was cast out of heaven, they followed him because he was over them. And so that's how he lost the. That's how he said a third of the angels was cast out with him because they went with him. He was over them, and they had free will, so they decided to go with him. They're not actually dealing with the Lord of hosts and with the Yahweh. They're dealing with him. They getting their marching orders from him. So when the Most High kicked him out, they followed him. And so, like I said, it tells you that they was cast out into outer darkness. So it was the whole, when the Most High caused the flood in Genesis 1:1, the whole universe, everything was dark. Then it tells you that the Most High came back to the earth, and then light shined on it. That's when the light shined on it, it shined on them too. And then he came to then the serpent, Lucifer is his name, Samuel, came to the garden. Okay. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, there are no more questions in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. So
So,
go ahead.
oh, go ahead, Mr. Lynn.
Now go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that that makes a lot of sense though about how you said Genesis 1:1. You had explained that before, but not, I guess, not in that depth. But
Right.
so
Right.
so there was life. What was my question? Just is, was there life on Earth? Like, were there angels here, or
Yeah, well,
um
with how you understanding to that is that, you know, have you noticed that like Mercury and Mars, all those places are uninhabitable, right?
right,
So at first, all those you dealing with angels, angelic beings. So they was dealing with all those planets, all that was all in operation. And then with and that's why they saying Mercury, they tie Satan to Mars because that's where he was at. They was dealing with all the planets, and when the Most High, and the reason why, you know, with the Lord of Hosts, they didn't he has a problem with uh Michael. Everybody wants to think that Satan and these angels trying to fight against Yah. Everybody know you can't fight against Yah, but they fighting with the being that's like Yah. He's
right,
like he's an angel, but he's not like he's like Yah. He's the only one like that, and so they got a problem with him. They got a problem with his position. So that's who Satan trying to usurp is Michael. That's the two beings that's in the garden. The two trees in the garden is Lucifer and Michael. He can't fight Yah. He got a problem with Michael. So they all those planets was in operations, and so they didn't really understand the power that the Lord had gave, or Yahweh had gave Michael. So when the
right,
time came, he shut the whole universe down. He only returned to the Earth. Mars still jacked up, and all those other planets still jacked up. But at one time, they was inhabitable. They was all inhabitable. He just him and the most Lord of hosts returned to the Earth, and that's why he's telling that 6 day man when he created him and the woman. He said replenish the Earth. That means they was there before,
right.
right? So like I said, all you have to do go do your research on Mars or Venus. It's a toxic gas around. You can't get to it. The Most High don't create nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Earth. We see. He tells you that in the beginning, he said when he made the Earth, he said it was covered with water. And then he said he brought the land up out of he brought the land up out of the water, and it was good. So what we know about land? Land brings forth vegetation. We know the plant breathe out oxygen, and we breathe out carbon monoxide, and they complement each other. So why would you have a whole mass of land over in the Antarctic covered with ice when the Earth was created to bring forth vegetation?
Right.
Something happened. Something happened. You know, but like I said, people don't see that. So why would Mars be covered with a toxic gas where you can't get to it? He don't create nothing like that. It's something happened. And he judged it. But like I said, he only came back to the Earth. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when they found out what he was capable of. Now that's why they fear him. They get on now because they didn't understand the power that the Most High gave him and he showed it to them. Shut down the whole universe. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. And that's what I was saying. I was telling you. I was wanting to mention that this morning, but anybody that know anything about the solar system or whatever knows that Earth got a wobble in it. Well, we just read how it got the wobble when the flood came. He said Noah I just read in chapter 6. He said he shook the earth violently and threw it in a wobble.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it shook so violently Everybody, you know, everybody was afraid. But they went right back to doing what they was doing. Then he brought the rain. So that's where the water will come from. So, like I said, from that point on, everything on the earth and in the heavens knew what he was capable of after that. He showed it to him. Okay.
Yeah, that's big.
Right. Right. So, like I said before, so nobody shouldn't. What you read in there, what the prophets told you that he sent, is best you believe it, because he capable of doing everything he's telling you to do. He's gonna do.
Right.
Right. Anybody else? Any more questions? Anything? Any more comments? That's it?
Sure.
Okay. Shalom, everybody. I'll see y'all Monday at 6 o'clock.
All right. Shalom.
Okay. Shalom.